So, Amy, what is your dream? What is the big dream that you're chasing? What do you see yourself doing? How do you see yourself making money? What is the definition of success for you? What is the dream?
Um, so I mean, for me personally, I think for as long as I could remember, my dream has always had to like have anything involving dance. Like whether it's, dancing or managing someone who dances or managing a dance company or a studio, like whatever it may be. I always knew that my future was to dance. Um, it's always been my passion. It's always been what I wanted to do. And to this day, it's still what I want to do. I think for me, a big goal of mine is to own my own dance company, but not just one, multiples. So there's that. um, yeah, I mean, for me, my dream has always been anything involving dance. Dancing, traveling for dance, doing commercial dance, involving movies, music videos, whatever the case may be. But yeah, for me, it's always been dance.
Okay, awesome. Now, Zianna, for you, I think, I don't know, I'm assuming, but it may be a little bit different because you've been dancing your whole life. But I'm going to say the difference between you and Amy is that Amy's been like in schools dancing and on teams and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of just started that venture. So I'm interested to hear what was your dream before, if there was one, and what is it now?
Oh my gosh. When I was younger, I've always wanted to be a vet or a nurse,
Which is
stuff
better.
like that. Then I went to college for it. Didn't work out. It's okay to change careers. So I changed it to business administration. And especially ever since, I've only been doing it professionally dancing for like almost 2 years. This year makes 2 years. So I feel like business administration could also help if I want to continue dancing in the future, like in a bigger way. I feel like business could help if I want to own my own company, like Amy said, or do anything further with that. As of right now, I'm not necessarily sure what my goals are yet. I'm more going with the flow of things. I don't have any set goals, but I know whatever I want to do, as long as I'm happy and, you know, getting decent money, then that's all that matters, and I'm financially stable. But yeah, I'm just going with the flow for now. I'm getting my degree in business administration. I want to continue dancing definitely because I feel like I'm getting better. So I'm curious to see where I'm going to be as a dancer in like 5 years. So
So
I've never heard us like talk this seriously together in
right?
general.
I
Like
feel like a professor.
Zianna and I literally have the funniest conversations in the world, and we're rarely ever serious. This is
so
weird.
so I want to ask you guys something because I'm listening to you talk, and I don't want to.
Can you hear my nervousness in my voice?
I don't know why you guys are nervous. My podcast has probably like 50 listeners right
Okay, but listen,
I'm not nervous.
I mean,
I've
I'm
never done this, so it's
I'm
like
super. No, it's just a conversation between all of us, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Some people will hear you, some people won't. It doesn't matter. But my thing is, I don't want to come off and sounding like too much of an adult or a dad, right? But when I hear you guys talk, my thought is, are they dreaming? My question is, are you guys dreaming big enough? Like huge, right? Because when I was a kid, right, my thing was like NBA, right? Like that was the dream,
yeah.
right? And we get lost in the failures that we experience through our childhood, and then that usually takes our dreams away, right? So somebody says, oh, only 2% of the people can go to the NBA, or being an entrepreneur is really hard. Only like 3% of people are only successful in entrepreneurship and all this stuff, the definition of success. So like when I hear you guys talk, I'm like, are you guys dreaming big enough? Do you think that you're dreaming big enough?
No, I don't. I don't.
I I would definitely I'm dreaming big, but I personally am someone that if I put my mind to something, there's nothing stopping me, like absolutely nothing. Like I could, like, literally the world could be going against me, and I'm still in the same track. I'm
Okay.
still going for the same end goal. So I mean, yeah, to other people, because I have had this conversation with other people as well. A lot of people do think I dream way too big for my own liking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, I feel like that just gives me more of a drive to kind of go for what I want, you know?
What goes through your head when people tell you you're dreaming too big or you can't do it or it's crazy?
What's funny is that for most, most of the times, whenever someone tells me, oh, like you're dreaming too big, you're crazy, it's not realistic or whatever, I'm just like, just because your dreams didn't come true doesn't mean mine can't, you
Okay.
know? So I
Oops.
mean, it's different for everybody, but it also depends on how other people react to it. Some people will be like, yeah, you might be dreaming a little too big, but whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. And some people just kind of take it like, oh, what the fuck, like, huh?
And Zianna,
So
why do you think that you're not dreaming big enough?
Because I don't know what to dream of. Since I don't know necessarily what I want to do or where life's going to take me, I don't have a set goal. So I don't know what dream I need to, strive
pursue.
for.
And
Not yet.
I think that's perfectly fine. Like I think that's even more amazing that if I were your age again, if I were 21, I probably wouldn't go to college. I probably would have decided to just try to experience life, make all the mistakes I possibly could at this time, and experience as much as I can. So I think that's 100% perfectly fine. Um, but I would love to hear like what you're like, and I don't want you guys to go all crazy, right? Because I know we're here. I want to hear what your wildest fantasies are in terms of success.
Okay.
You know how you guys go.
Zianna was like,
Yeah.
wow, this
Your
fantasy.
wildest things, like for me, like my dream is I'm gonna have like Vita Project. I'm gonna have like a whole bunch of these open across the United States. I'm gonna have my schools open. I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 schools, Life Project schools open. There's gonna be changing education, right? Like I'm gonna be helping the Secretary of Education, working for the White House. Like those are my dreams right there, you know? And I think those are really, really big, massive, transformative, changing the world type shit. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's has to be that way. But like, I think when we dream big, I think it motivates us. I think it like empowers people to do it. So like, I want to hear your wildest fantasies, your wildest dreams. Like, if you could think of anything, what would it be?
Zianna, you're gonna go because I've been answering first this entire time.
And it's going to stay that way. You could go ahead. You have your dreams.
All right, sis.
I need time to think. I don't have any.
My brain is
What are you
like
talking about,
steaming.
Zianna? I see you post up on social media about all these views of all the places, right?
Oh,
And
so
those,
okay.
yeah, those
So,
those totally count. You want to see a
okay.
view of a fucking? You want to be a house on a moon? Like, fuck, that's a.
I
That's a mood.
always wanted a house. It doesn't even have to be big. It could be a comfortable apartment or a nice comfortable house, but just with a view. It could be a view of water. It could be a view of mountains. It could be a view of a city, especially it looks nice at nighttime. I just love views. Every car ride, I hope it lasts hours so I could just stare out the window, listen to music, and look at the sky and the view like all day.
Yo, I can totally help you with that. You know what we'll do? Get you a big screen TV.
Eh.
You put a Google Chromecast, and it's gonna change all those views. Get
As she's
bottled
listening to like
water.
The Weekend and it's like passing by, and she's like pretending she's in a
Exactly. You
music
get all the
video.
views you want.
I need it now, so especially kids since I can't leave my house. I'll do it.
Listen, this quarantine life is not for us.
No,
I told Moises about our little blanket episode.
Oh goodness.
yeah, I heard about that.
We were roasted.
That
All
was
right, Amy,
was
what's
something.
what's the wildest thing you can think of? Like, so you
Um,
open up a bunch of schools, you got all this money. What are you doing with it?
you know what's funny? Um, Regardless of how much money, it would like opening up all these schools and doing all this stuff, I feel like my wildest dreams, and it might not be like the wildest, but my wildest dream is just to have my family. I want my own family. Like I want to be able to like have my own kids and raise them and have a husband and like live in a house and still be successful with my dancing. Like that to me is my wildest dream. I just
I'm
want to do
gonna be a
that. Like,
godmother.
that's like my end goal. Like that for me is gonna be like perfect.
I think that's amazing.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I think that's part of a dream too. Like I was actually talking to my business partner. I'm gonna get his wife and him on because I think that like being married and having a family is something that millennials, right, are not
They
really,
don't cherish.
they
They
don't
don't
share,
cherish that.
but also that we don't necessarily experience because our like
Right.
a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds now are like single mothers, right? Baby
Mhm.
daddies, stuff like
Yep.
that. So it's rare to see someone who's in their 30s or 40s be together as a family and look happy and enjoy it and all these different things. All right, so
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what happens in your head as 21-year-olds when people start talking shit about you.
About you in general, like personally,
You.
or like
Yeah. So like your capabilities, your abilities to do something. You as a, because I think, so when I was growing up, right, we didn't have all this social media stuff, right? This one thing that I know about millennials is that we grew up with technology. We didn't grow up immersed in it. And then the people before us didn't grow up with it. Right? So we're very unique in our own sense, meaning that we grew up with technology. As technology was growing, so were the 80s babies. You guys were born directly into that shit. So you were born with a tablet and a phone in your hand. Very different, right?
Yeah.
So the socializing aspect of it and people talking shit over the internet and talking about you, maybe your appearance or your abilities to do things. How do you guys handle that? Because you both have a very, very friendly and positive mindset from the observations that I have.
Oh, thanks. um, I mean, to me, it's pretty normal. I feel like for any 20-year-old, and Zianna, you could kind of, jump into it and agree or disagree. But I feel like it's very normal for us to, at some point get offended. Like it
Yeah.
hurts, it happens. Um, it stings, yeah, but life goes on, and I feel like for me personally, yeah, it's always gonna sting. It's always gonna be at the back of my head. But I'm someone that just likes to stay positive no matter what. So like it may be something negative, but I like to take something positive out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always gonna sting. Like that's the first, and like it's always just gonna sting. It's gonna hurt,
Mm-hmm.
especially with this whole social media thing going on, and everyone has an opinion behind a screen, and
Mm-hmm.
it's whatever. And I feel like it just, to me, I just kind of brush it off after a certain point, because
Okay.
it's like everyone is entitled to their own opinion, um, and who cares at the same time? Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, who cares what someone has to say about you,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how well they know you or not?
Okay. Z, how about you?
Like Amy said, it's gonna sting at first, but like she said, just brush it off. I've personally never been in a situation where on social media I've gotten shit spoken about me or I've seen it or heard it. Not yet. So, but obviously, like, growing up in high school, people would talk shit and da, 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 da. It's gonna sting at first, but at the end of the day, to kind of be relevant, I
I
just think
mean,
of them as
yeah, at
irrelevant. I
some
don't
Does it,
care.
does it ever for you guys make you doubt yourself?
sometimes,
A little bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
And what do
And
you,
I
then I
mean,
gotta remember who I am. Like, who I am. I know who
I
I
mean, yeah, exactly. Like I feel like there's always gonna be room for doubt at some point.
okay.
Um, especially with shit talking, depending on how personal they get. But you just gotta brush it off. I mean, shit happens,
am. Mm-hmm.
whatever.
All right. So I'm going to give you my perception of obstacles and challenges. It is a perception. If it's an obstacle or a challenge, it's that in itself, meaning that if we see it as something that is difficult, then it is difficult. But if you just see it as an experience, right, then it's just an experience. So I believe it's how you judge it. But for different people, it can mean different things. So for me, my parents getting divorced may be a trauma, right? But for someone else, it may not be, right? Vice versa. Someone tripping over a a step and everybody laughing at them could be a trauma, right? But for you guys, it may be like, it's whatever. So like for you, what was one of your, I don't want to, if you want to go and be vulnerable and say your trauma, that's fine. It's a podcast, everybody will know. But what is something, and even in terms of dance, I'm sure that you guys encountered so many obstacles and challenges. How do you get through that? What was it and how'd you get through it?
Well, I could probably think of 3 at the top of my head. There was a point where, and even to this day, I still have a little bit of, like I struggle with it. Is my weight as a dancer.
Okay.
I've always struggled with my weight. I come from a family that they're a lot heavy setter than most families or most girls, and I've always been like that. Especially with the fact that since I'm so short, it just all looks so compact, and it's always been a struggle of mine, and I still struggle with it. I mean, there's no other way to get through it other than dieting and working out. I started to kind of look at myself differently. There was a point where going into high school, I was getting bullied. I ended up having to like transfer schools, and at that time I was just starting to dance. Like I was getting really, really into dance. I was always really into dance, but it was like I was getting to the point where I was viewing it more like I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of messed me up a little, only because with the bullying and the weight, and then it just kind of kept on clashing with my whole confidence in dancing, and it came to a point where I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And little by little, I guess I got through it. And another thing is, my relationship with my mom has always been a problem for me. It's always been an obstacle, I guess. Not so much of a problem, but it's like it hurts. My mom and I don't really have the best relationship in the world. We never really had the best relationship in the world. I've always been a daddy's girl. My dad is literally my best friend, my
I
absolute
love
best
her
friend.
dad.
My dad is the sweetest. He's the coolest guy in the world. He's so chill. He's funny, and I absolutely adore my father. I don't know
He
what I would do
adopted
without
me.
him. Oh, okay, Zianna, we get it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, he told Zianna that like whenever she wanted, we would but once this quarantine is over, we would go to the strip club. So there's that.
Yeah.
Pretty progressive dad.
Yeah,
I
he's
freaking love
a
him.
man. I love him. But my relationship with my mom has never been like the best, and there was a point where our relationship was like so toxic that I just kind of had to separate myself from her for a few years. And what was worse about it was I like had just gotten through the whole bullying thing. I transferred schools. I started going to high school. It was like a little bit of everything kind of mixed together, and it didn't play with my emotions well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, she was never really too supportive of my whole dancing, especially when she converted into Christianity. Not saying that that's the reason why, but the people from her church, I don't really get along with well. I've tried to, it doesn't really work out, and they kind of influenced her opinions a lot. So the obstacle of just not having my mom as there as I would like for her to be in general was just kind of hard for me. So I would definitely see that as like an obstacle, like a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still working on it to this day, but thank God it's not as bad as it was before, because it used to be really bad.
Wow, that is pretty tough.
Yeah.
That is pretty tough. And Z, what about you?
We about to get deep up in here.
Oh, girl, we better be getting deep, because I just got way too deep.
Okay, so one of the bigger reasons why I never started dance when I was younger was because I was afraid of the guys. I was afraid of the guys because in kindergarten I was sexually harassed in the bathroom.
Wow.
So that has stuck with me my whole life. I remember it. Sometimes I have dreams of it. Sometimes I'll forget it for a couple of years, and then it'll just come back as if it was fresh. I remember every detail of it. And I had a best friend who had told me, we went to high school together. The same girl who was in my class when that happened, we went to high school together. And she even told me, I still see him to this day. My thing is, I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what his name is. God knows I could even be friends with the guy and I would never know. But he, even though I was so young, that it's literally put so much fear into my view of men. But obviously I've overcome that because I'm like, not all men are like that. I shouldn't, because it's had an effect on whether it was relationships or friendships, or if a guy's too friendly or compliments me too much, I push away because I'm like, okay, what is he trying to do? I always get the thing that they're just after one thing because of that experience. And I overcame that because I don't want to view men that way, just because of one guy, of one kid, actually, So that is one of the bigger reasons why I didn't start dancing when I was little. Because everyone, you expect me, oh, it's Miley Cyrus's daughter. She should have been dancing since she was little. No, I was too afraid to dance with the men, too scared. But then I started taking his classes. I would only do the footwork and I would leave for the partner work. And that, Moises, I would not do the partner work.
That makes sense, yeah.
But that was why I would go back to the office and eat and watch YouTube. And they'd be like, you're always eating in the office. I'm like, well, you want me to tell you this story?
Here you go.
There it is. Everyone knows now. Well, but I was never afraid to talk about it. Like, I don't care about everyone I feel like not every woman, but someone has gone through something that has changed their view either on individuals or a career or anything. So that has definitely affected me. Sometimes it affects me now. I don't think that's ever going to go away, but it's definitely, I've overcome it. Like, I'm not afraid of men anymore, or I'm not, but I'm very cautious because it's still always in the back of my mind, like, oh, they're just using me for this, or they're just using me for that, or they're going to hurt me, or they're going to do this. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's something I overcame. It was very hard, but that was to answer mad people's questions on why I didn't dance when I was younger. That's one of the reasons why I felt more safe just dancing naturally in my room, just me, myself, and I, than to have that fear of if I dance with this guy, what's going to happen.
That's actually funny because I remember when we first started like becoming friends, I had always asked you, why didn't you dance before? And you would always tell me, oh, I just never really got to it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, that too, but one of the main reasons was because of that. But also because I didn't want to be forced into something I didn't want to do. And my dad would never try to force me. He wanted me to do it, but I just did not have, I would be in and out. Like, I liked dancing, but I'm like, am I ready to do it professionally? Or I just want to have a normal life and be with my friends and go to the mall and go shopping and not worry about going to rehearsals like twice a week for hours. And, I wasn't ready for that. And I regret not doing it now, but I feel like things happen for a reason. And I feel like ever since I've started, I've been growing at a very rapid pace, if that's so, which is good because I'm happy because I joined when I wanted to. I joined when I was ready. I joined when I was ready to make the commitment because before I wasn't ready to do that. Or if I would go in, I'd leave again, or I'd start something and I wouldn't finish it. So that's another thing that I overcame, that if I'm going to do something, I need to stay dedicated to it. As much as I might be lazy, as much as I might procrastinate, as much as I don't want to do it. Like, if I really want to do something, I will have to suck it up and do it because that's what life is going to be about, basically.
Wow, that's impressive. Thank you for your vulnerability. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, so I've been learning about trauma a lot lately because I've been doing some research on trauma. And I was actually talking to a therapist. We actually had a podcast with a therapist the other day, me and my partner. And the idea of overcoming something is pretty interesting. Most people, I don't know, I'm not saying this about you, Z. I don't know if you've done this with yourself or if you've thought about it in this way. But most people want to overcome trauma, meaning that something to get over. But the truth is that we never get over it, ever. It's going to be a part of us for the rest of our life. Always, no matter your relationship with your mom, the shit that happened to you when you were a little kid, whatever the case is always going to be a part of you. So it's more of accepting that it is you, that it is a part of you, and it's just a part of your superpower, right? Meaning that it's something that you've experienced and that you have learned to accept. And now you, like, to me, I think it's super powerful that you finally came to the idea where you found a passion, but there was an obstacle that was blocking it, this trauma that was blocking you from this passion. And to then go into it and start to deal with those fears of that, right? And going through that story, replaying in your head, I think that's powerful. And that's a superhero power of like trauma. Right? You've accepted it, you've made it a part of you, and now you're like, all right, this is it. You know, like now I can keep moving on. But to overcome it and say like, oh, it's in the past, it doesn't matter anymore. Bullshit, it's always there. You're always going to remember the people that hurt you the most. You're always going to remember the failures that hurt you the most, because that's who you are. But as long as it doesn't prevent you from moving forward, right?
Yeah.
I remember my dad would always tell me when I was going through this whole thing with my mom, he would always tell me the best way to get over something is to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I definitely agree on that.
Yeah, I think that's super powerful. I think that's an awesome story too.
Hallelujah. It's like you're
High
not gonna
five,
let
Zianna.
that high five.
High five.
Because I'm not gonna allow that crap that happened to me before take over my life. It happened. It's gonna be with me forever, but it's not gonna take over my life or affect possible relationships I could have, or like now I'm fine. But it's still always gonna be in the back of my head. Yeah. But I'm good now.
So
call me, man. No,
she's like, I'm chilling.
Yeah,
so before I was gonna do this podcast for you guys, I was thinking like, what the hell are my listeners or anybody my age gonna want to learn from 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds? And then I thought about it and I was like, well, first of all, you guys are human beings just like everybody else. So that's number one.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Number two is you guys have stories. Like, we don't really know a person ever, right? Like, even our parents, we think we know them, but we don't. They tell us their stories, but we can only picture the story from the words that they use, the symbols that they use, right? So even us, we don't know the feelings or the traumas or the things that they've gone through. So when I was like, all right, yeah, you know what? Let's bring Amy and Zianna on, because I'm sure they have stories, and their stories are different than everybody else's stories, and their dreams are different than everybody else's. All right, so now the big question before I wrap it up. Right?
Oh goodness!
This is the question I ask everybody before we wrap up the sessions. How do you want the world to remember you? And then where can people find out more information about you or what you do?
I want people to remember me as a positive, humble, hardworking, loving, caring person that would not allow any negativity or just stuff like that to bring me down or change who I am. I always want to stay a humble person, a humble dancer. Remember where I came from, remember where I started. Like, no matter how successful I become in the future, I will always stay humble. I will always remember how I started. I don't want to be like the people who, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be humble, caring. That's what I want to be remembered as like a little sweetheart. And then you can find me on YouTube, my rap videos on my phone. You search my name, you see those.
Okay, but listen, those rap videos are fire. So
they are fire.
I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, we need to do another one.
So what's the name of the channel, or what's the name? They just search it?
It's my dad's channel, so you can search up Ismael Otero on YouTube, or you can search up Zianna Otero on YouTube, and you see my dad and I when we did like little dancing skits together. Or you can follow my Instagram, because it's private, so I'll accept you. It's _ZIA319. Facebook, Zianna Otero. Even if you want to follow me on tweet, Zianna Otero.
I would probably want people to remember me as definitely someone who, like Zianna said, is very humble. There will never be a point in my life where I, think I'm, better than anybody, or, I'll always remember where I came from. Shout out to Miss Joanna Esquez de Baila Conmigo Dance Studio, because she showed me everything I needed to know from dancing salsa. Um, but I definitely want to be remembered as someone humble, someone very loving, caring, positive, because I always try to, be as positive as possible. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean that's basically it.
Okay, and where can they find out more about you?
You can follow me on Instagram because my page is actually public, unlike Zianna. It's
Okay.
at Amy Bayona _. So that's AMYBAYONA _. You can follow me on Twitter. It's the same thing, Amy Bayona, just without the underscore. Instead of the underscore, you're gonna add another A at the end. And then on TikTok, which is basically the same thing, Amy Bayona. Yeah.
That's awesome. First of all, both of you are already humble, sweet, kind, and compassionate individuals, and I think you guys will have no problem keeping that up.
Oh, thanks, Moises.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for taking the time in being on Dreamer's Journey, and I hope.
Thank you for having us. Like, seriously.
No, seriously, it was fun, and I hope that you guys achieve your dreams. Like, don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Never.
We're gonna be
Never
looking
that.
back on this podcast in a couple of years.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna be like, Zianna, Moises, do you remember when we did Moises' podcast? And we'll be like, yeah.
I should put this up when you guys blow up, right? When you blow up, like 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
You guys on social dance TV and shit. I'm just gonna put it up, and you're like,
Okay,
oh,
well,
this podcast.
I'm pretty sure Zianna's already on social dance TV, but
I am not.
you probably are. Don't
Yeah,
even
I
know.
think,
Oh wait, no, I have
Exactly.
They put the video of my dad and I from the New York Salsa Congress.
Yeah, that one was on there. Yeah, the performance.
I was shocked. I'm like, oh, social dance TV.
I have yet to get there. It's okay. I'm
When you
building
guys
my way up.
start getting hired, and they got you on social dance TV for actually like teaching classes.
Yeah, that's
like
a goal.
that's not the niche, and you guys are just all over just for teaching shines and shit.
Yeah.
That's when you know you made it on social dance TV.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, Moises.
Thank you. Clap, Amy.
Yeah. Round of applause. A round of applause.
This was dope. We got deep.